And boom, we're on. We're happening again, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to another edition of After the Cook.
What is up?
Got me, we got Chris, and we got special guest,
Blaine Taylor.
Blaine Taylor.
Oh,
Fantastic.
he is rocking that OK State cowboy shirt, too. Look at that.
Yeah, I got to let everyone know, Just because we lose the big games every now and then, still got to represent that.
Oh, yeah, they going to a bowl this year?
They are the Cheez-Its Bowl.
Jesus?
Cheez-Its.
Oh, Cheez-Its. Oh,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I don't even know where it's at. I don't know anything about it. They change like every year, so you can't even keep track anymore.
No, and was it the Badgers are in the Duke's Mayo Bowl?
Ooh, I could go for some Duke's Mayo though.
Hey, my Southern friends told me told me about Duke's, and that's the only stuff I buy now is the Duke's from Festival. They actually carry it.
Dude, it actually really is good.
Mm-hmm.
I heard it on the Reload podcast, and they're raving about it. And I was like, all right, let me try this out. And I was like, okay. And I had it on some street corn. It was legit.
Yeah, my Georgia boys got me hooked on the Dukes.
Yeah, man, that Dukes is on fire right now. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, everyone's posting about this Duke. I'm like, what is this? In Canada, we're like 5 years behind. Whatever you guys are doing, we don't even know about it until 50 Cent was on his second album. We're like, who's 50 Cent? What's going on?
You guys just have Miracle Whip up there? Is that it?
Yeah, that's about it. That's
Perfect. So are we live on Facebook now too again?
I believe so. Yeah, I've been running both. So
Nice.
yeah. Oh, we got Cat and Ron in the house. There you go. Going on about the Hellmans. That's it. Yeah, we're gonna find that Duke's up here. I'm pretty sure they've been shipping to a few small places at least, so I'm gonna hit it up. For sure.
Let me know next year when you find it.
Yeah, exactly. That's after me calling out the nacho cheese. So Lane, up here in Canada, it's a bit weird. They don't let us have some things like you guys have free reign on. AK-47s, 5-gallon pails of nacho cheese. We don't get that here. You know why? Because you die. That's why it's not available to the public, right?
Yeah.
So now I have people, they're like, I'm at a wholesale club in, Ontario, and look what I found. I'm like, oh, no.
5-gallon pail of queso cheese. Like, what are you going to do with that?
That's it. That's it.
I've never seen a 5-gallon pail of it, but we used to get it by the gallon-sized coffee type bin. In college, we'd go through those from Sam's Club, and one of my roommates hated it because the rest of us, we would take it, we would eat our cheese dip, we would take the bowl and just put water in it and leave it in the sink. That would drive one of our roommates nuts.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I just did a big pot of gravy for that prime rib, and same deal. After I was done with it, I poured it into a Ziploc bag so I could save it for breakfast. And then I look at the pot, I'm like, I got to put water in that thing because that will be concrete in the morning. Like that's there's every once in a while, there's one of those dishes where there's nothing. Even if you're not going to attack it right away, you still got to put water in it because we did that with caramelized onions on one of the wife's favorite frying pans, the fat enamel ones, right? And I did a whole bunch I think I did steaks with caramelized onions in there. And I left it for 2 days. She was out somewhere. She came back. She goes to scrape it. It almost chipped the pan. It's so bad. She's like, what is wrong with you? Why can't you? Yeah. So, me and dishes.
I got the link shared to a couple of Facebook groups.
Nice. Right on. That's awesome. Yeah. It seems to be going. So, with I haven't seen it on Facebook yet, but it'll show when people come up if they're on Facebook or YouTube. So, it's kind of neat. I'm still new to Facebook. It's a weird thing. So, yeah.
I left mine in the past, man.
Yeah.
I can't.
We're gonna get in trouble.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. It's just too many social medias. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Gotta keep it simple.
Yep. Yeah, and that's where Instagram kind of comes in as the simple one.
Yep.
Seriously.
Oh, so, I got plugged in with Lane. We'll kind of give you a little background. I got plugged in with Lane, gosh, probably 3 years ago now.
Yeah, 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, from Brett. Brett Hunley was kind of the one that introduced us. So Brett kind of contacted me through Instagram. He was the kind of guy who, when he was here, wanted to just experience everything in Green Bay. I think anything he could get his hands on, he wanted to do it. So he messaged me. He's like, "Hey, I want to learn how to cook." I'm like, "Okay, whatever, anytime." And then 2 weeks later, he's like, "No, seriously, I want to learn." So I started cooking with him a few times, and then during one of the off-season workouts, he brought along Lane, and we just started kind of grilling and cooking through there. We, obviously we haven't done anything this year with the COVIDs and kind of keeping quarantines, and I'll be damned if I'm going to be responsible for any type of outbreak with the Packers. I'd get death threats, so I'm staying clear of that. But yeah, we ended up cooking together, and Lane is, I keep telling people that he's all of the real deal when it comes to barbecue and cooking. So he's been doing this other than just before on his Big Green Egg and his Traeger and all that. He can go into all the different grills he has, and I'm telling you, some of the best ribs I've ever had were made by Lane at his house. And gosh, I think that was last December. Oh, that was a great batch. And I can't give away all the secrets. I've been sworn to secrecy, so I can't give all that away. But Lane, why don't you tell us a little bit about some of the grills you cook on?
Obviously the Big Green Egg. You know what? That grill, I literally like I love cooking on it more and more and more. Like, because there's so many things you can do and so many things you can cook with, and so many variations that you're just like, okay, I gotta try that. I gotta try that. I gotta try that. But I got a couple of Big Green Eggs. The Mini Max is freaking awesome. I do have a couple of Traegers that I cook on when I'm lazy. You just you just throw them on there for your reverse sear or something like that. But it's good. It's a good grill. It's been good to me. And then obviously I have a stick burner. That's where my roots of barbecue came from, a stick burner. So I got a custom stick burner that my dad and I built. And but it's down in Texas. I don't get to it as much as I wish I could. But it's not going anywhere. It's like 1,000 pounds. It's like full steel, double insulated. Like that thing, it'd take like a crane to get out of my backyard. So it's permanently in place.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty sweet. It's custom built, like you said. It's got the big 6.5 on there. Obviously he's number 65, so it's pretty cool. And and it's like you talked about, each grill kind of has its place, and those stick burners are kind of fun to use when you want to babysit it. When you want to take the time to, I'm going to sit out back and just make a day out of it, or if you have 40 pounds of pork butt that you need to grill up.
Exactly. I know. You really do. With stick burners, you have to like really plan out your day. You can't just wake up, like, I'll smoke a brisket today. Like, that's happening. So, it's fun though.
I've got a 125 gallon stick burner with a 28 inch by 28 inch firebox, so you can put big logs in there, right? Which is it's a godsend when you're burning, stick burners, right? Yeah. Like the bigger the log, the nicer it works out. But for me, especially this year, you can't have people over, you can't do nothing. Like to burn through that many logs to cook one brisket, and you're like, when you could do the XL with like a handful of charcoal for a whole brisket, and you're like, as romantic as it is playing with it, and like if you're not just sitting there with a stick, or like you say, you're having a bunch of people over, there's a bunch of meat, then it makes sense. Mm-hmm. But like for me to do I did a couple pork ribs in there just because I missed it, right? And I'm like, well, we've got 3-4 hours, why not, right? Well, yeah. But yeah,
you're kind of worn out. You're like, damn, the egg is looking really good over there.
And that's the thing that people forget about the stick burners. You could do 40 racks of ribs, the exact same as that one rack of ribs.
Yep.
And that's the trick with it, right? Is that once it's dialed in, it's dialed in. You could have anything on there, and it's mint. Mm-hmm. And that's I do love it though. I do. I got to check your stick burner out, man, because that sounds fantastic.
Oh yeah, I'll have to see you pick, man.
That's wicked. Oh, so we had a question. Daddy Dutch Barbecue. I don't know if you can answer that, but who was your favorite teammate?
Who's my favorite? I got Aaron Rodgers. He's a pretty cool guy. So, all of us old timers now, I guess you could say they're still on the team. So, like Mason Crosby, Aaron Rodgers, Bakhtiari, Lindsley. We're all cool, close guys. We've been around for 8 years now together. So, you naturally, y'all are cool together.
That's awesome. I couldn't even imagine what it's like, man. I try to, but like we up here we got the CFL, and I know
Yeah.
it's different. It's really different down up here than down there, but it's still to see like the same old boys. Like I don't know if you know Gizmo Williams. Like I grew up watching old school Edmonton Eskimos, and it was. And you'd go into a place and you'd see them still together 10 years later.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you don't know, why are you guys all here? Like, did someone get a deal on a Corvette or what do you think? You know what I mean? Right? Like, it's so cool, man. It's so cool. And I love that. I love that teammate stuff. That's just, yeah.
It's cool.
And that's something that's pretty cool about the Packers that I think that, the way that their front offices might be a little bit more unique than some of the other teams out there is a lot of their talent is homegrown or a lot of it is together. The Packers haven't been, much to the chagrin of, the armchair quarterbacks or the armchair general managers who think, they should just go out and sign everybody that's a free agent and, just kind of function that way. A lot of the Packers have been around forever. Like Lane said, you and David came out together, right? You guys were rookies together?
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of those guys have been there for years, and it's it's actually pretty cool to kind of see that, and then they're able to develop these relationships, and that's what makes it suck more when some of these players move on, or their contracts aren't renewed, like a Jordy when it was time for Jordy, and even Cobb, who's still going in the league now. It's that these guys have been there for 6-7 years. That when they leave,
and you go through a lot of shit together. With training camp and the season, and some seasons are better than the other seasons, and you're dependent on them to play well, and they're dependent on you to play well, and you see a lot of people come and go, practice squad, team, starters, and so you end up going through a lot of things together. You form that bond over years, just because you've kind of been through the crap, or you've been through all the good days. So. Mm-hmm. It's definitely a roller coaster, to say the least.
Yeah, it's awesome. Daddy Dutch Barbecue says he actually knows Adam Timmerman. He's an ex-Packer Ram. I remember Adam Timmerman. He was number 63. He had this crew flat top cut. I think he was a guard during the Super Bowl 35 era. Okay. So it would have been mid-90s. He was a guard for the Packers. I think it was Aaron Taylor, Adam Timmerman, Frankie Winters, Kenny Rutgers was there for a little bit on the line, and Gabe Wilkinson and some of those other guys were on there. But yeah, I remember him in that Super Bowl team. That's pretty cool.
That was way before my time.
That was way before your time.
The only 63 I know is Corey Lindsley.
Mm-hmm. And actually, I just had somebody send me a message on Instagram about that. He said he wasn't going to make the talk today, but he had a question for you. He wanted to know how pissed are the boys that Tanyan and Lindsley didn't make the Pro Bowl.
Man, it is tragic, especially my boy Lindsley had a super good year.
Did they announce? So they announced the Pro Bowl team already?
Yeah.
Who all made it?
At center, it was Kelsey made it, and I forgot who the centers were. I know Kelsey was on there.
I mean, yes. I don't know how much stock is put into that Pro Football Focus rankings, but two games ago when I saw it. He was the number 1 rated center in the league.
Yeah, I mean, like Pro Football Focus gives you like a hard general idea of like
Right.
how good, because you kind of have to take it with a grain of salt. But I mean, especially like Robbie T, man, he balled out. He had like 10 touchdowns to Evan Ingram's 1, and then he had like more yards, more receptions. He blew him out of the water on every category, and somehow didn't even make it. It's like, that's embarrassing.
How is the Pro Bowl done? Now that's not all fan voting, right? That fan voting is just a portion
It's
of
like
it.
1/3 fan, 1/3 coaches and players.
Okay.
So
That's tough.
I don't know. A lot of people are winning on the fan vote or something. I don't know what's going on. But it's always wishy-washy. Every year, it's like, how did that guy get in there? Like, he's solid, but what the hell's he doing? But, there's always a couple of those. But yeah,
Right.
this way is I guess, like, the players, they put more weight to the all-pro. Because that's, like, coaches and media. So it's, like, people that actually, like, watch football and stuff like that.
Did D-back make it this year?
Oh, yeah, he made it.
Okay. Yeah, I remember last year we were actually at your house when they announced the Pro Bowl.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he came over for the cookout.
Yeah. He was late, and I've never seen somebody go through a whole rack of food so quickly.
Mel, he came over late. He was like, "Hey, I'm coming over. I swear, I'm coming over." And then he came over late, and I was like, "Hey, look, man, I saved your rack of ribs just for you, man." He's like, "Thanks." You cut it up for him. You give him 3 or 4 ribs and some beans and some sides. And you think it's gonna be good. He literally smashes those ribs and like gets the rest of the plate. And just like, I'm so hungry. These are so good. He just kept going and going and going. He killed. He's like, oh.
And it was like during a conversation too. We were having a conversation, and he polished off his rack of ribs in 5 minutes.
Oh yeah. He's like, these are your best ones. Like, these are so good. Oh my gosh.
And he is a solid dude too. I mean, he's like, people think of offensive linemen and like Lane too. I mean, these guys aren't like barbecue offensive linemen. These guys are like solid muscle.
Yeah.
Lane is a brick shithouse. I'll tell you that right now. And D-back gets into grilling a little bit. I know you were giving him some tips. I think he's got a Traeger.
Yeah, he has a Traeger. We go back and forth, but he likes it. He enjoys it. Like he'll make his own rubs and stuff. Like he doesn't buy any store-bought rubs. He likes making his own rubs and put them on there. And I like teach him like kind of the 3-2-1 method ish, and give him a little bit of knowledge and everything. He cooked his turkey. He brined it, made his own brine, cooked his own turkey. I was like, go ahead, man, get it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that is a huge thing. That makes me so happy. I love seeing when any of those guys are taking it on themselves at home, right? Especially like tackling a turkey for the family, that kind of thing. You see the pride, right?
Yeah.
And here you got guys that have been watching since the beginning of your career, right? That are now seeing you cooking the stuff that they've already nailed, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, look at this guy. Like, he does the exact same thing as me. Like, and it ties it all together, right? I love it. I love watching.
It is fun. I love helping my dudes out. Like, I started like a little, like a notes page I sent to David. I sent one to Balaga too. And then over the quarantine, I had a few people hit me up. Hey, Lane, how you do those ribs? Even like Clay Matthews, he hit me up. He was like, hey, bro, I need to do some ribs, man. How you do that? And then, so I went through it a little
Where's Clay this year? Is he out? Or is he...
Yeah, I don't think he signed anywhere. I know he had a couple of options, but probably, he's going to be obviously a little more picky because the last couple of years. So, so he's chilling. He's in Cali, enjoying the weather.
Yeah, I saw when he was building his house a few years ago. He was on an episode of whatever that fish tank show was.
Yeah. Like, what is that?
Tank.
It's called Tank, right?
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, he was on there. Yeah, I did hear about that. I never saw the episode, but I'm sure it was.
We were sitting in the lounge one day, and they're like building his house. I'm like, hey, wait a minute.
Hold on.
Not in Green Bay.
That's weird. Well, it's way nicer than Green Bay.
I love that. That's awesome. That's
Oh. So we talked about your ribs, and like I said, your ribs are fantastic. What's another go-to meal in the Taylor household?
Dude, right now I can't get enough of steaks. Like literally, I'm just like, you want to grill a steak? My wife's like, no. I'm like, damn. And then like the next night she's like, what you want for dinner? I'm like, we want some steaks. So, but dude, I made some steaks. The ones I posted today, it was awesome.
Is that the Wagyu ribeyes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, it was awesome. I use that seasoning too, the new one. It was killer. Like usually I like my meat church, holy cow, with a little garlic herb on top of it, and just money every time. But this one was awesome. So it's fun, man. And it's quick too, because it's fun cooking a brisket and ribs and prime rib or whatnot. But steak, you're done. Even if you were serious, it's gonna take you like an hour at the most, even with a big cut. So it's fun to kind of cook them fast and get a good meal.
Do you like truffle at all?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Big truffle guy.
So try just like a strip loin or something with like a black truffle sea salt.
Okay.
And what you do is pull the steak out, pat it dry, hit it, let it sit for like a couple hours, maybe overnight, grill it in the morning. Tell me what you think of it.
Okay.
It's gonna mess you up for steaks, man. Now I'm always like, that's the first thing I go to. The wife's like, are you going to do that again? Like every time now, and I'm like, well,
pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you.
It's weird how like your tastes evolve as your steaks evolve. Right. And all of a sudden you're like I used to marinate all the time. I'd marinate. And now I'm like, I would never marinate. Right. Why am I trying to ruin that taste?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no need for it unless you're doing like tacos or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, if you're doing a skirt or a flank steak or something like that, those are great for marinades. But yeah, I don't want to see people marinate a ribeye or a New York strip or
don't do it, people. Don't do it. Whoever's here, don't do it.
Yeah. What about cut of steak?
Yeah, I'm the classic ribeye. I love ribeye. I love the fat, the meat, the seasoning. It's awesome. Yeah, strip steaks, they're a little too lean for me, man.
Yeah. Daddy Dutch wants to line up against Lane.
Oh, that's a big fella.
That's awesome. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I could just imagine. Well, this is like me and Chris here. We got to go one-on-one when we Oktoberfest next year. The big boss even said he's going to make sure that this happens. So he's like, no, I really want to see this. So
pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Yeah. The first time I met Mel, we were it was after the Oktoberfest event. We're sitting in the bar, and he's just like looking at me. And he's just like looking at me like, hey, what's up? He's like, I want to wrestle you.
That's it.
Okay.
Why not? That's it. Been drinking all day. It's a beautiful day, right? That's
absolutely. Stand a little taller, a little bigger.
That's right.
I love it.
You're laying down to an Oktoberfest, but hopefully not too soon.
No, not too soon. That means I don't have a job. So
exactly. Well, maybe in like 10 years or so, right?
Nah, I'll catch you in about 5 years.
There we go.
I'll be there. That'll be a good thing I'm there, So, how is that Oktoberfest?
It's so I've been 3 times, twice competing, and once with Big Green Egg or BGE Team Green, and it was about 100 times more fun with BGE Team Green.
Really?
Yeah, and my team did great. We took second to first year, and we won it the last year we were in it. I mean, but it's just completely different festival when you're there. I mean, when you're competing, you're cooking, and you're focused so much on the food and making sure your product's good and everything is good. And we always did 5 or 6 dishes because we're idiots instead of just doing a couple.
Yeah.
But when it was last year, it was all about like talking to the people, just hanging out with each other. Mel, Ron, Campbell, Buddha, Jack.
Yeah, Jack. If you could hold him still for a minute before he floated off again. Yeah,
I can see that. I can see that. He's like, gotta go.
Yeah,
he was floating. But yeah, no, it was just a lot of fun. Just the camaraderie when you get 3,000 people that are there because they all shared the same passion. It's just a cool event.
Yeah, this seems pretty cool, man. I'm definitely eventually make it out there.
yeah. It's quite a thing. It's quite a thing. It was that was my first big thing in the States that I'd ever been to, and man, it like opened my eyes to everything else that I could see for that kind of stuff. Everything's just so much different up here than it is down there. So it was really cool. It was really cool. It was so sweet to see that many eggheads all in one spot.
Yeah,
Because up here you got like 1,000 people, 1,500 people, and you're like, this is crazy. There was like a sea of people. There was a campsite that was just full of eggheads.
Yeah,
Through it, we're like everyone brought. Oh look, that's a 2XL. That dude is huffing a 2XL up the hill in a wagon. Like, what are they doing out here? It was wild, man. It was. Yeah, it was really cool.
Mel,
Really.
how'd you get with Big Green Egg?
They just reached out to me.
Really?
So I think the way it was, like they respond to the people asking them, questions or whatever, right? Yeah, it just out of nowhere, I got an email, and I didn't really take it that seriously. The first one I got, and then I sent them an email back, nothing back, and then 3 months later, they sent me another email, and I was like, maybe I should check into this, right? And then bang, boom, done. It was
Nice.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. That was because I've been cooking on one for quite a while, right?
Yeah.
And before I understood really how Facebook and Instagram really worked or whatever, like as soon as I learned how to tag, that was the first brand I would tag.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was cooking on it, right? It didn't. I wasn't like chasing the brand or anything. I just was cooking on it, and that's what
it's cool.
right? Yeah, and then every once in a while, like big accounts would hit me back, and it'd be like, "Wow, this is crazy!" Like this is. I have to say, one of the first big accounts that ever like messaged me back was Kendrick.
Oh yeah, Benny, he's cool.
Yeah, man. And I was like, "Wow, like this is insane." You're like the guy,
the
like,
social media guy,
Yeah, that's it. And now it's wicked. Like I got a question about something, and I shoot him a message. 5 minutes later, bang! It's like this is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love the community. Right, being an egghead is one thing, but just the barbecue community in general.
Isn't it cool? You have no idea who you'll meet, connections, and stuff like that. And and sometimes people are like, oh yeah, I know one of your good friends, like we're good friends and everything, and you had absolutely no idea they even existed or anything. So
Yeah,
it is awesome. And I think like the barbecue community is they're always so like. It seems level-headed, kind of all the same a little bit.
Right.
And they're just like all willing to help each other out and just kind of part of, what, barbecuing is really.
Right.
Yep.
And it's all more of a positive community experience. It's not, of course you'll end up in those places where it's all, you run into these people like, oh, well, no, that's not how I would do it.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of what Facebook is. And one of the reasons what drew me to Instagram, and you still get some of those Instagram people that'll kind of say, oh well, I'm looking at this steak for 5 seconds and I could tell you that it's overcooked, and and be like, well, no, I got a thermometer that says it's 127 degrees, and
this is gonna be money.
Right.
I don't know what you're talking about, brother.
But
that is kind of funny. Yeah, there's some of those people out there that they can't help but be negative, but for the most part, it's good.
I have to tell you one example, and if you dig through my feed, you'll see it. I did a picanha like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I put it up, and I got so much hate about it being undercooked.
Mm.
And I did it over the fire to finish it off, like did a flame grill, whatever. And people they went nuts. They were like, that's disgusting. I wouldn't feed that to my dog. Why would you do that? What's wrong with you? The coals are supposed to be just red, never flames, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh like it kind of, whatever. It really spoiled it for me a bit.
Yeah.
And then I had other clips of the same picanha, different angle on the cutting board that I'd shot for YouTube.
Yeah.
I put it up and they're like, overcooked, totally over, the exact same picanha on a repost. And they're like, oh, look, it's totally overcooked. And it was just a different angle, so the lighting was a bit different, but it was literally, and my first response is to like defend myself, right? But after 3 comments, I was like, you know what? At least you're commenting on my shit. I don't even care, right? Because it was good. It was good on my plate. I loved it. The family loved it. I don't care what you think of it, right? Like but it was just hilarious because it was 2 sides of the exact same picanha. I was like, you guys are like, what are you doing here? This is whatever.
People don't know, man. And half the people that comment are probably not even like grillers either.
That's
like, oh my gosh,
yeah,
cooked that terrible. Like, you've never cooked a steak in your life.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's why you just gotta do you, man. That's why I never really get caught up in that or care.
Yeah,
I keep social media be lighthearted and fun,
right?
And so there's always the couple people that are like, "Oh my gosh, you gonna cook that steak or what?" You know?
Yeah. Well, we've actually had a pretty rough run here this last week, just with my own personal shit, whatever, right? And I haven't been doing a lot, social media wise, whatever. And one of the big guys, one of the big barbecue guys up here, he's actually the president of the Canadian Barbecue Society. He was chatting with me a little bit, and he's like, you're the most positive person I know on this side of the border doing this stuff, right? He's like, honestly, dude, whatever, just shake it off and keep doing what you're doing. And it's actually really nice to hear. He's like, honestly, man, it doesn't matter what they say. Like, everyone knows the truth. Everyone knows what's going on. Just keep being you because everyone loves it, right? Yeah. And that's what we do as a team, like Big Green Egg team, is be positive. Everything you're doing, trying to bring it up, trying to bring everybody up. It's a weird thing, But yeah, it's definitely, it's good to be positive, even when they're shitting all over you.
I know. I'm like, dude, I'm gonna post my barbecue journey if you like it or not.
Yeah,
like follow or unfollow. So.
Yeah, no, it's a fun thing. My most fun with that kind of stuff, people get right into politics and religion and because of the mullet, right away they assume I'm some kind of like racist backwood redneck, right? And I don't know, like it's so crazy. And then like my teammates and everybody are like, you have no idea who this dude is. He's like the exact opposite of just because of his hair, right? Like it's crazy. Like it's so, but whatever. It is what it is.
Yikes.
So, how's that knee coming along?
Man, it's coming along good.
Yeah.
Like it's the past couple of weeks is really I've taken some big jumps. Like I finally went to the game on Sunday, or I guess Saturday.
Yep.
To the Panthers game. That's my first game I've been back to since I got hurt week 1. So it was good to get around the guys again, go out there.
Yeah, you were on the sidelines?
What's that?
You were on the sidelines for the game?
Yeah. I was on the sidelines. So I was like physically able to like stand up for that long, because before I was like, dude, if I try to go out there, first it would have took me like an hour to walk out there. The game would have been over or half over, or it would have swole up while I was out there. So I was finally like physically able to stand up for like hours, and it didn't bother me and everything. And now I'm like walking around normal, and range of motion's getting like super easy now, which is a big hurdle, I guess, for rehab.
Yes.
And, so I'm finally starting to like feel normal a little bit again. It's nice.
Good. We got to get you back out there next year.
Oh God, I don't know, man. Tell me about it. It's killing me.
Oh, it's such a rough journey. The last 2 years.
God, tell me about it, man. I'm like, dude, like, come on, man. Am I not living right or what or something? Yeah, but it'll be all good. I'll have a good off season. Get ready for next year, man.
Yeah,
got more football to play for sure.
Hell yeah. So obviously, for those who don't know, you went to Oklahoma State. Played for Mike Gundy, the mullet himself, right?
Yes,
Did you
huge
have the mullet
racist.
then?
Yeah.
Huge racist.
Oh man, those mullet guys! I tell you what.
Oh,
Oh, they're horrible. Backwoods, let me tell you.
did he have the mullet back when you played for him?
Man, I'm disappointed in him. He didn't.
Yeah.
He was like a little more like, I guess like politically correct. You know, kind of how you should act as a head coach and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And like my last year was like the first year he was like, look, he's like, if one of my sons has like a baseball tournament or something, he's like, I'm skipping whatever media obligation I have and I'm going to it. That was like the first time he like ruffled feathers, really. And then after I left, that's when he grew the mullet out and, you know, got in the newspaper a few times. So.
Oh, he was the one that had that outburst about his quarterback, right?
Yeah, that was. You know
I'm
what?
a man.
You know what's crazy? That I'm a man. I'm 40.
Yeah.
It's been such a big deal, and like that was in 2007. And it's like on people's minds, like so vividly. You
That
know,
was 2007.
2007 is before I even went there. It was the year before I went there. 2007.
So who was the quarterback then? That was obviously wasn't Brandon Wheaton, was it?
No, it was Bobby Reed.
Okay.
It was Bobby Reed. Bobby Reed and Zach Robinson at the time.
Okay.
And like something happened, like Bobby Reed, he got like a concussion and got knocked out of the game. And then he came back or something and he didn't play well. And like some reporter wrote in the paper, he was like, he's too worried about eating his mom's fried chicken and cooking instead of the playbook and something like that. And then they said like coach came in the locker room, he was like shaking. And he read the newspaper and he was so pissed. And like he went straight to the fucking like news conference thing he had, the presser he had. I guess he already had like scheduled his main one that he has like every week.
Uh-huh.
Just went off. And like if you go back and look at that video, he's talking right to the guy like the entire time. When he's pointing, he's looking right at the guy because he knows exactly who it was. And he's just talking straight to the dude. Like he's like, I'm a man. I'm 40. Come after me.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, and it is great, you know, and that's, you know, and I think that's something that some players like to see because look, we're going to play for a coach who's going to stick up for us. And
that's how I took it when I first, because obviously I got interviewed a lot after that. They're like, oh, so you're committed here, and he said this and that. I was like, dude, I think it's awesome.
Yep.
He stood up for his player, you know. The guy's like, you know, me there trying to trash his quarterback, and he stood up for him. So,
yeah,
good stuff.
What was one of your favorite things from your days at OK State?
Well, obviously meeting my wife.
Yeah, good answer.
Just in case she's watching, you know. Nah, but dude, you know what? I met my wife, my best friend, a lot of longtime friends. You know, so many different experiences and had so much fun, especially as like a young kid and everything. And, you know, all those experiences and people you meet throughout the years is kind of that lasting thing. And, you know, make it exciting to go back and, you know, see your alma mater.
Yeah, it's kind of like, you know, kind of living that rock star dream. You know, I mean, obviously you're not a rock star where it's like, you know, concerts and all this, but, you know, being that literally the big man on campus and, you know, football's kind of big down in Oklahoma and Texas. Yeah. So, I mean, that's some pretty cool times. And you got to play in some bowl games, right?
Yeah. I went to a bowl game every year. You know, play with some good players too. Des Bryant caught a touchdown, come back this past weekend.
Yep.
Good for my boy. I was there for a couple years with him, and we played. You know, the best game we played was our bowl game versus Stanford in the Fiesta Bowl when Andrew Luck was there.
Yeah.
That game was insane, man.
I thought you guys had a BCS bowl.
We did. That game was insane, man. We won in overtime. Come back. We were down like 14 points to start out the game.
Was that when Whedon and Blackman were there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Blackman had like 8 grabs for like $1.80 or something like that, like 3 tutters. Just another average game for Blackman.
That guy was unreal.
Oh, he's a monster, man. I mean, we didn't even know he was gonna be that fucking good. We're like, he had like a strong like training camp, made a couple good catches, and we're like, okay, good for him. And then he just went out there and was just a monster all year. It was crazy.
He's one of those guys that you wonder, did he just end up on the wrong team? The wrong situation, and just wasn't able to.
If you get around like the wrong people and the wrong team and bad environment, it can kind of be poison for you. And I guess things didn't work out for him, but.
So here's something else that'll interest Mel. This will be right up Mel's alley. Tell him what you have in your garage.
Oh yeah, we've talked about this, man. I got a '72 Chevelle.
We've talked about her. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit more about your '72 Chevelle.
All right. So when I was like 15, so I've always been around cars. My dad drove a '66 Chevelle that he raced at the racetrack, and we grew up going to the racetrack and drag racing and whatnot. So I was like, all right, I want an old school for my car. So he's like, all right, we'll find something for you, and we'll fix it up, and you can drive it to college. So we found this car, the '72 Chevelle, and it was parked at like one of those small dealerships that had like 10, 15 cars. It was right off the highway, and I drove past it, and I was like, oh man, that's it, that's sick. The car is awesome. It's in great shape, right? But you only can see one side of it. So then we pull in the dealership, and I pull into the side you can't see from the road, and it's literally the right side is just trash. Like they hit like a guardrail, and it just concaved it in down the whole right side, and it was busted. And then, but I was like, you know what, this can work. We can fix it up. So I go to like start it. Battery's dead. We finally get it jumped, and it's smoke. And then once we get it started, it's smoking like crazy. Like Uncle Buck kind of smoking, So we finally get it home. It took a couple years, but we finally restored it throughout high school. And I drove it all through college, first couple years in the league until, can't take the winters up here. And yeah. And after that, I finally restored it again, how it looks now. It's black, pretty sick. Dropped it down a little bit. And, I kind of did it the way I wanted to do it. Because usually, before I was doing it on my dad's dime. So it was like whatever, he could afford is what we're going to do. So this time I obviously had a little bigger budget and I went for it, man.
Well, it's crazy. The '72, right?
Yeah.
So the last car I worked on with my dad, I owned it for a little bit and then we flipped it. '72 Nova SS.
Nice.
And the floor was rotten, trunk was rotten, the rear quarters were rotten, and me being a welder, he's like, this is no big deal for you. Right? And then I'm like, so now we've cut half the car off of the car.
Yeah.
Looking at like the A-frames and then nothing, right? Yeah. I'm like, well, now what? Yeah, and he gets all these like half-price panels from God knows where. Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to fit them up, and like nothing's fitting. Everything's just
the stamp shit.
Yeah, so now I'm like cutting and trimming and tacking, and we did. We put a 454 with a 700 R4 in it.
Okay, let's go.
The thing was just a beast.
Yeah.
And as soon as I got every panel in there, welded straight, doing whatever, and then he's like, "It's time for her to go," and I was like,
"Say what?
What? Like, are you?" And that was it. That was. We had other shit on the go, whatever. Like he's got a 51 Merc 2-door, the old lead sled.
Yeah.
And it like we work on a lot of cars together as well, but I wanted that car so bad, and at that point it was just like, oh. And now forget about it, man. Some American came up into Canada and bought pretty much every muscle car we have.
No way, really?
No, I'm dead serious. Like they're as soon as we get a nice gone, like pull it out of the farmer's field. Some guy's like, "Yeah, hi, I'm from Texas, and it's coming with me." Like that's it. It's done.
That's what I've been looking for.
Well, I'm sure you've noticed, like the price of things is.
Oh, you can't see. I got pictures of his car, but you can't really.
Oh, yep.
I remember when you were doing this, you revved up the engine. And I just remember the look on Patrick's face.
Yeah.
The kid looked like on those cartoons. He's revving it up, and he's just like, what?
He wasn't ready. He thought it was just a little rumbler, you know.
No. And, and Lane's garage is set up where he's just got this little space, whereas this little workspace, which was set up perfectly to park that beauty in your new house. That was quite the setup.
So yeah.
So you get her out much?
Yeah, I do. Whenever I can. I guess when it's not fucking snowing here.
Yeah.
But so like summertime, I get it out. I try to drive as much as possible.
Awesome.
Take it to work, rumbling, wake the kids up and shit in the morning. I'm like, I try to be quiet, it's shaking the walls and shit. Like, I'm sorry.
That's well. So my daily driver is an H2 supercharged.
Okay.
And I got dual 3-inch, right? Fuel rails, the whole 9 yards. So she rumbles pretty good when I start it, right?
Yeah.
And that same deal. I'm out of here like early in the morning. Mm-hmm. So I'm like just feathering the gas until I get to at least the end of the block before right? Just so I'm not that asshole.
I fucking start it, I had to push it out of the garage first. And then I'll start it, and then I'm just barely on the gas so it can warm up the time I get to stop.
It's like the people at the end of the street must think I'm a real asshole. As soon as I hit that corner, I'm like, okay, like
sorry guys.
Yeah. Well, it's like, so she's all blacked out. She's totally murdered out, black rims and everything. I just love it. But you're driving late at night, and people think the bus is coming because I got big mutters on it too, so it makes like a brrr as it drives, plus the motor. And they're looking for the city bus, and it's just me driving past. I'm like, that's hilarious. They come out of the bus stop, right, and they're looking around. They're like, what the hell? I love it. Love it.
So are you still working on a car for Casey?
Yeah, I am. We went, she has a 69 Camaro. Yep. Pretty sick. But we went to get it painted, and then like our painter, he's a little older. And unfortunately, he got some like prostate cancer and stuff. So he's been dealing with his own health issues. So I was like, dude, don't worry about the car. Just like get yourself right and everything, and we can kind of deal with it later. So unfortunately, it's been put on pause. I'll get kind of excited for this off season, but we'll have to pay.
Yeah, and she can't really drive it right now, anyways.
No, she can't. So we'll figure out what to do with it. We'll get it done, and it'll be sick though, because I didn't mind. I'll probably fix all the mistakes I did on mine on her car. So
yeah,
probably fucking sick, and I'll be wanting to redo mine.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So obviously we have the holidays coming up.
Yeah.
Are you cooking?
Brother, am I cooking? Of course.
What are you cooking?
I just ordered me a prime rib.
Yeah?
We're doing prime rib. My wife, have to break the reins off, man. She literally wants like turkey and like ham as the only protein for like Thanksgiving and Christmas. I'm like, look, we're cooking a prime rib too. So we're gonna put a little prime rib on there and it'll be delicious. I can't wait, man. I wish I cooked it more throughout the year, but yeah, we'll definitely fire up the prime rib.
So you doing that on Christmas Day or Christmas Eve?
Christmas Day.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, our holidays are gonna be pretty a little bit more quiet. We're not doing any meals with our families, so we're like, okay, we're gonna do Christmas Eve. I'm gonna go make our surf and turf. We always do surf and turf. So everyone loves scallops. I'm doing some pan-seared scallops, and then I'm going to, instead of doing a prime rib, I actually have a whole Wagyu Snake River Farms Gold Grade ribeye cap. I'm just gonna do the spinalis.
Ooh, okay.
And I'm going to cut it into strips that are about this wide, the long strips, and just sear it that way. And slice it into the little nuggets with that. I'll probably serve it with like a parsnip puree and kind of have the seared scallops and the spinalis scallops kind of on the plate with it. I think it'll be kind of fun, kind of our quick, fancy candlelight dinner that we'll have with the girls. Mm-hmm. And then I'm kind of excited, Christmas Day. We're making pizza. Screw it.
Just pizza?
We're gonna run around and do what we have to do. And then when we come back, we're gonna put our pajamas on, watch movies, play with toys, and eat
pizza.
That's awesome.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah, I'm like, this is gonna be like the most laid back Christmas ever, and I'm kind of excited for it.
It's not gonna be bad. It's not gonna suck.
No.
We're
Yeah.
we're in that same boat up here. We're not allowed anybody over. We're in a total lockdown state right now, so they've been pulling people over in the car and checking your IDs, and if you don't have the same address, you get $1,000 fine.
Wow.
That's where we're at. So like it's zero. Like so, what they say is your household, and if somebody is single and not with anybody else or around anybody else, they're allowed to see you, but that's it. It's you're not allowed like someone coming into your house,
Right.
At all. That's the rules right now. It's crazy.
It is. That's probably why you're in better shape than what the states are, though, too.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
Alberta,
way too strict for us.
yeah.
We can't handle that. That's way too strict.
Oh no, it's so like I'm not getting into it or anything, but there was two RCMP, which are our police officers. I believe they arrested a kid in Calgary. There was 15 or 20 of them playing hockey.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah. And they threatened to taser him, and they tried to check him down. He was in skates. Just a kid at a hockey rink in skates, and they're trying to arrest him because he refused to leave. He's like, I'm playing hockey. Like, we're not, we're not all sitting around in a room or something. We're out in the wide open. Like, and that's a touch, like Edmonton, Calgary. It's a hockey town. You know what I mean? This is where
hockey is to Edmonton what football is to Texas.
Yeah, it's and for some kid to get like arrested, it's just everyone's like, okay, let's take a step back here and just think of what we're doing, right? Like this is it's a tough one. It's everyone's in such a weird spot right now with everything. I'm excited to hear about your pizzas, Chris. That's where I'm at. That's
they're from Costco.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's not even all that fancy, but it's a 2-pack of these Motor City pizzas. So they're like the thick,
nice,
in a square, the Detroit style pizzas. They're gonna be like little pillows, all the crispy edges. I'm like, dude, there's 2 of them in there. One for me, one for the rest of the family. I'm gonna sit on that couch, have some old-fashioned slushes that I made. It's got whiskey, orange juice, cherries, bitters, and it's in the slush. And you just take it out. I'm like, that's gonna be the Christmas dream.
Yeah. Chris, no, I'm trying to think. Did you not put a turkey over the flames once?
Over the flames, like.
Didn't you like kind of reverse sear a turkey?
No, I just do my turkeys hot and fast.
Okay.
I do them spatchcock in like 425. The one I did this year got up to 500.
Yeah, that was the one I'm talking about. Didn't you like sear it somehow, or
it just ended up being seared?
Yeah. Okay, that was
And it was. I don't think I ever went to post a picture of it because I just got behind, and then it's like, well, I can't post it on, the following Wednesday. But it was one of the juiciest turkeys I ever made. Like it was dark on the outside, and then I sliced to that breast, and you just see juice pouring out of it. I'm like, it's not the prettiest bird, but it was damn tasty. And it was part of the reason why I think it got away from me a little bit is usually I'm pretty strict to 12, 14-pound turkeys.
Yep.
Like that's just a really good size to smoke and cook spatchcock and, kind of get at that 400 level. This time I did like a 22-pound turkey.
Yep.
And, I don't know. I don't think I would do one that big again.
No.
Is 22 pounds like big for a turkey, or?
I think it's fairly big.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm asking because I have a turkey in a cooler in the kitchen counter right now.
Uh-huh.
It was sent to me as a gift, and he's hoping I can thaw it and cook it before Christmas.
It's 26.
It's 38.
38-pound turkey?
It's going to take you a day to cook it.
Dude, I'm like, this will fit in the 2XL maybe if I bend the thermometer. Like, this is a
38-pound turkey?
Dude,
Like,
where did this come from? How many steroids is in this fucking bird?
Well, in our defense up here, Lane, you got to come to Canada and see what our farmland looks like. It's crazy. Like, we don't have feedlots. We don't have, like, when we say free range,
Yeah.
Like everything's free range already. It's crazy.
Mhm.
It's the amount of space we have up here with no people, just cows and turkeys. You know what I mean? Like but this is no joke. I went to go and put it in my Coleman cooler, and it props the lid up. So I had to put weights on top of the lid to shut the lid.
Oh fuck!
I'm like, I don't know. And I was joking. I was like, I was gonna spatchcock it, and then I'm looking at it. I'm like, unfolded, it would be like the bat wing. Like that's it's just too big. Like,
Are you sure it's a turkey and not an ostrich?
it's a turkey. It's a turkey.
That is
I
huge.
swear.
Yeah,
I
dude.
swear.
Yeah.
So in Wisconsin, there's a decent Amish community,
Yeah.
and through one of my dad's barbecue hookups, he would get chickens from Amish. Some Amish chickens, and these chickens would be 12 pounds, which that's a really freaking big chicken. A 38-pound turkey.
So here's the deal. We're not allowed guests for Christmas. I just cooked a 7-bone prime rib, right? After cooking that pork tenderloin, and now I got almost a 40-pound turkey. I bought a vacuum sealer on Amazon when I saw the prime rib idea came to fruition, right? I was like, I need a new vacuum sealer. I'm not even playing games now. So like that, this whole holiday, that's what I've been doing because of quarantine, right?
Mhm.
Lane, I don't know if you know, but they locked me down for 14 days.
Yeah.
One of the guys at work tested positive.
Okay.
So our protocol up here is 14 days. You're at home. You can't leave the house, right?
Yeah.
I don't get down like that. I'm a busybody. I need to get so like the shit that I've been cooking every single day. I think I've got 30 posts banked in my phone right now for cooks that I've done literally in the last 2 weeks. Like,
Do you have 2 more days left on your lockdown?
yes, Christmas Eve.
But everything's locked down, so you can't. Can you even go out and get
Once I get out, the bars are closed.
Yeah.
So it's only like drive through or pickup.
So you could still go out and get a Dirty Donnie.
I can get a Dirty Donnie, which is awesome, but I can't bullshit with the guy. He's just gonna throw it at me as I drive by, right? So yeah, that's
nice.
Oh, it's a crazy time, man. Crazy time. But yeah, I'm looking forward to I'll have a turkey to do Christmas Eve or Christmas Day on the 2XL.
And you better start brining that fucking thing now.
I know. That's the guy's like, dude, it's solid. I'm like, can you defrost it a bit before you ship it? He's like, I don't think we can do that. It's crazy. It's crazy. So the postman dropped it off, and I got the camera so I can watch him. And you see him, and he puts it down on the bricks, and then he looks at it. And he's like rubbing his head, and then he turns around and walks away. And he was probably thinking like, This is probably not a box. This is a bird of some kind. Like, this is pretty crazy, man. Pretty.
Yeah.
I gotta see a picture of that thing because that's not normal.
Oh, absolutely. You got to post that. Sure.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
So, Lane, how are you cooking your prime rib?
I'm gonna put like a garlic herb crust on it,
Mm-hmm.
and just put it on the smoker.
Yeah, let it go.
Let it go. Probably pull it like 127 or so, and then we'll be good.
Are you gonna sear it at all, or just let it smoke?
Nah, I think I'll just let it smoke. I just like the way it comes out.
Mm-hmm.
Some of it falls off a little bit into the juices, and it just, I did it last Christmas, and it was killer. And it was freaking Diva Q's recipe for her garlic herb crusted prime rib.
Mm.
Like lots of garlic on it and butter compound, that type of thing. So.
Oh, that sounds perfect.
Oh, yeah.
What about sides? Are you mixing up some?
Whatever Casey makes.
I was gonna say, Casey
She might not make too much because she's pretty pregnant, but
yeah,
she's a busybody too. She says she's not going to cook, but she'll be in there like throwing something now.
Women are weird, eh? When they're pregnant. my wife, man, right to like the day of hatch, she was like, "You're doing it wrong. Get out of the way." I'm like, just stay on the couch. You should not be jumping around. And she's like, no, get out of the like. I have to run down the stairs right now and do laundry. I'm like, I got this. She's like, no, just get out of my way. I'm like, what are you doing? Like,
that's not true. Literally last night, she was like, oh my gosh, my back hurts. Like, I can't bend over. Yes. And then literally 10 seconds later, she's like moving like the ottoman by herself. Like, she's like picking it up, like one of the chairs, like love seats, and just moving it by herself. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, don't pick that up.
You know why my back doesn't hurt? Because I'm sitting on the ottoman with a beer. That's why it doesn't hurt. Try that. That's better.
Trust me, it works.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So are the kids pretty excited to have a?
Yeah, they're excited. The older two, they get it. The youngest one, she doesn't really get it. She's kind of like, baby, but she doesn't really get it. And like, it'll be interesting because our third one, she's like super attached to my wife, and like you would think she's the only child. So like when this new baby comes along, we're like, oh shit, like we'll keep away all the pillows away from, we'll see how it goes. It should be interesting. We'll see.
And your third one's the little bit of the troublemaker, right?
Dude, she is like, she's something, man. She's
She
like
was the one that was starting a fire in the middle of your island the last time I was over. She lit something on fire, and Casey's like, "No, what are you doing?"
Sounds about right, man. She's a savage, man. I'm telling you, the guys in her future, good luck. The girl's a savage, man.
She ain't gonna take anything from anybody.
She don't take shit from anyone. Like already 3 years old.
You're not gonna have to worry about her. I mean, she'll be able to.
No, she's gonna be kicking ass and taking names. So she'll be fine. That's cool.
That's awesome. I'm sure Luke is going to be excited.
Yeah, thank goodness. Another boy in the house. We were getting outnumbered.
Congrats, man. They ran the tables on me over here, so that's it.
Yeah.
Just me and the bulldog.
My first little girl.
Yeah.
How old are your kids, Mel?
I got one is 6 and one is 10 months old now. So, yeah, always busy, always hustling. It's the wife's been dealing with a bunch of other stuff, family stuff, right? So I've been with the kids through half of this quarantine doing stuff, right? And every once in a while she'll see videos that I sent to people on like Facebook or whatever, and she's like, "Why did you let the kids do this?" I'm like, "Yeah, my 10-month-old, she's holding a Donair, right?" And I'm like, "Snap, snap, snap. That's perfect." It's like, "What the hell are you doing?" I'm like, "Wow."
She was hungry.
I can't help it. This is like, no, I cut her up with food and stuff, but still, it was just funny that, holding an empty White Claw in her hand. It's like, what are you doing? Like this.
How'd you get that?
Yeah. How about don't leave me alone for 8 hours at a time in lockdown with the kids? Like this isn't. Yeah, but no, we have a lot of fun.
The White Claw would help her sleep.
That's exactly it. Yeah, no, my 6-year-old, she's just like me. She's super busy all the time doing all kinds of stuff. So I'm very blessed with her. And the little one, whatever, she's coming along. So, yeah. She smiles a lot. That's it.
Well,
yeah.
Not quite old enough to do tricks yet.
No, Lisa gets pissed off because she hasn't said mom yet. Just so I'm like, I'm terribly sorry. I don't know. She's like, why did the kids think you're the fun guy? I don't know, but I gotta go do some more cool stuff. You just hang out here and like be grumpy, okay? All right. Yeah, that's I don't know. Kids are a blessing, man. I'm super pumped. I hope we can sneak one more past the goalie. We'll see what happens.
Oh, nice. Okay.
That's the plan for me anyway, not for her, but whatever.
We'll see what happens,
Yeah, Mel the third.
Yeah, that's the big one because I am a junior, so.
Oh yes, you need a third.
Yeah.
Yeah,
need the third. Oh, so yeah, it's I don't know. The prime rib I did just now, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I did something I didn't think I'd ever do. I put it on a rotisserie at the end to finish it. over the open fire.
Mhm.
I fucks with
So
that.
I did the test with that pork loin earlier this week just to see how it would take. And like the crust, the way it crisps up, right away I was like, I have to do the prime rib like this. I have to do it.
So,
It was bananas. It
so
was
tell me about your prime rib. How did it start out?
well, it was covered in mold
Mm-hmm.
and rock hard. And like at the very beginning, 120 days ago, it was in the cryovac. So then I cleaned it up, put it on a cooling tray, threw it in my meat locker, and then 120 days later, I pulled it out, cut it down, trimmed it, trussed it, Frenched it, and then cooked it. So the one thing about like a dry aged, they're not nearly as juicy,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
right? Because they're way more solid meat. There's not a lot of like I was messaging with the grill mama last night and going through the spinalis and stuff like that, and it processes a lot different when it's dry aged than a steak or a roast that's like say 21 day or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I get that. The next prime rib I do will be fresh or lightly aged. It won't be anything crazy. This was kind of a test, but
So
yeah,
how was the flavor of it then once it was done?
a lot more beefy.
Okay.
Like super beefy, super like almost nutty. You know what I mean? At 120 days, if you've had a steak like it's almost nutty.
Right. So,
Um,
so do you think if you were gonna, if you were to dry age another prime rib that, for 120 days, would you cook it as a prime rib, or to be something where I'm gonna cut this down into 7 huge ribeye
Steaks.
steaks?
100. That was the goal anyway. Was the steaks. This whole idea of doing the whole prime rib was because of COVID,
Right.
like being locked down. That's the only reason this ever even came into a thing. Was yeah, it was supposed to be steaks, vacuum sealed for future cooks.
Okay.
So yeah, and I happen to have a twin sitting right next to it, so I can still do that. Yeah, you know me, Chris. You know me.
You're gonna go big, go
Yeah.
big.
There's always another one in the chamber. So
You got a dry ager there at the house?
no, I've got a beer fridge that I don't let people go into.
Okay.
So it's a full size fridge, full size standard fridge that I use for aging meats or defrosting things like NQ. And the wife just doesn't go in there, so it never gets opened.
Okay.
Did you keep the temp a little bit higher then, or what's the temp at in there?
That's the thing, yeah. So it's I'd have to go read the gauges, but it's dialed in to a better. It's a bit warmer to keep the humidity down, and I have a computer fan in there.
Okay, I was gonna say, do you have a fan in there to circulate? Yep.
Yeah, and then like if I'm putting a lot of meat in there, I'll put a few trays of rock salt, and they take it out of the air, right?
Okay.
Nice.
So, yeah, these little things, right? Like you can buy a steak locker.
Right.
Yeah, I just fabbed it up. That's yeah, but it works great. I've been doing it like that for 15 years. You wait until those huge primal cuts go on sale, like Easter, whatever, and then you stock up, dry age your stuff, and then buck it up, vacuum seal it, and now you've got wicked meat for a fraction of the price, right? So, yeah. And you can do crazy stuff. Like I did a 280 day dry age strip loin, a whole strip loin. It was literally like almonds. Like they tasted like almonds, and the fat went almost like a butter color.
Oh wow.
But it was crazy. But like it was thick meat. Like it was solid meat when you cooked it. So to each their own. I would never sell somebody on that. My ideal thing is like 28 to 40.
Okay.
That's my ideal. Because then you're not losing a ton of weight either, right? Like that strip loin started whole and ended up like this after you shaved everything off. So,
Right.
yeah. I'll be right back.
You're not grabbing a bottle?
He said you give people shit if they need to go to the bathroom.
Well, no, I gave him shit one day because he's sitting there talking to me, and all of a sudden he's like sitting like this and sitting forward. All of a sudden I see him just move a bottle out of the way, and I'm like, did you just piss in a bottle? He's like, no. Like, we always see him from here to here. He pissed in the bottle, like live on the show.
Hey, we gotta go. You gotta go. I guess.
Yeah. Well, I couldn't leave. I'm like, well, I probably could have.
No, I'm sure we can manage without you for 1 minute. You know?
Yeah, it'll be okay.
So I was talking with Brett. I was like, man, I got to get out there. We got to do, because he does this little cooking segment.
Yeah, his Men Who Cook.
Men Who Can Cook. And I was like, man, we got to link up, man. We got to get an episode together.
Yeah. I'll chat with him every now and then. Just a few. Just text back and forth on Instagram a few times to see how things are going.
Yeah.
He still seems to be like just doing his thing. Yeah. Not a bad gig. I mean, honestly, he's got a good thing going for him right now.
Heck yeah, he does. He's in his hometown.
Right.
For the hometown team he probably grew up, cheering for, and he's doesn't have to play a lot either, so he's
right.
Chilling, man. He's doing all right.
Might not be the star quarterback, but you know what? Being the backup quarterback is not a bad gig.
Nah, not quite. He's probably making $1 million. It's not a bad gig.
And then when he's done, he'll be done healthy.
Exactly.
I just think back to during the Fire Beers when Peterson was there for how long? He was clear backup, and when he retired, he's got his faculties and look at him. I mean, well, this year's been kind of a down year for him as a coach, but
yeah,
he won a Super Bowl, so
true. Yeah, it does save your body a lot, when you're not like that everyday starter from day one.
Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't start till my 4th year, so I got like 3 years of not getting my body trash, and then missed the past couple of years, so I'll be able to freaking run with my kids when I'm done.
Oh, right. Yeah, you saw it.
Run.
Yeah. Well, because that's one thing you don't think about. I mean, you think of the quarterbacks or the receivers coming over the middle that get laid out, but just the impact from an offensive lineman to a defensive lineman every single play is, that's a lot of pounds of force coming together.
Yeah.
That's, and it's not just your hands. I mean, there's a lot of head-on type, small collisions that go there.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think there's more small concussions that go on that maybe aren't as prevalent or not as noticeable as, when a receiver comes across the middle, you can tell when he gets his bell rung?
Yeah.
With some of those linemen, I mean, do you think
they said that like the repetitiveness hitting is worse than getting knocked out? Like when you see a receiver go up and just get fucking cleaned up, like they said, it's actually like, it's actually worse to get in that repetitiveness, like hitting on the face mask than it is getting a big concussion.
Wow.
I don't know the studies on that. They did. It is a different era. All the studies that they do. Of the older guys. Like the technology of the helmets are night and day from just even when I was in college,
Oh yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see the studies from like 40 years from now.
Right.
See what those studies look like. Obviously I'll be a part of those studies, but I think it'll be way less decreased than it was before, especially since like we try to protect the guys.
Right.
And guys are a lot smarter than they used to be back in the day. Back in the day, there's like, get your head into it and just throw your head into everything.
Especially, I mean, you watching clips from like, the old school teams in the 70s or 80s where they're like legitimately clotheslining people.
Oh, absolutely. Ripping their freaking head off. Like, good Lord. No wonder why they had CTE. Like, a guy had his head ripped off in the game.
Yeah. There's the play from I don't remember what Packer that was. That just literally after the play was over, picked up Jim McMahon and body slammed him, and he just got a penalty. That was it.
You're like 10 yards. Yeah. Don't do that again. All right.
I love watching the old history clips of sports, right? A big one for us with hockey. You watch the old hockey clips, right? And guys are literally like missing teeth, big mustaches, mullets, no helmets, fist fighting on the ice, no gloves, right?
Yeah.
It's the game's not over yet, and someone's passing people beers in the penalty box, right? Like it's crazy, man. It's to think of how far everything has come already, and to see where it's going. It's yeah.
I know
Yeah,
my offensive line coach that used to be here, James Campen, he told us that like back when he played, like when he first started, like dudes would like smoke cigarettes at halftime.
yeah.
I'm like, what? That sounds awful. Like, oh, let me have a cigarette at halftime. All right, let me go out there and play a football game, you know. So yeah, it's definitely different times, and you know, he played like, 30 years ago. So
Yeah.
You even hear about some of those basketball players in the early 2000s that would, be drinking in the locker room or smoking weed in the locker room.
Yeah.
It's
what is wrong with you?
well, and the scary part now, especially with football, is you got guys that are bigger than they were before.
Yeah.
But not only are they physically bigger and stronger, but they're faster and more athletic now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's guys that can do things that guys that size couldn't move like that before.
Yeah.
No.
And then when you get them running at another human being, that's
Yeah. Well, that's the neat thing about sports and everything, right? You're running record speeds with record size and record precision, right?
mm-hmm.
And you look at the whole game as it's insane when you think about it. Like with same deal, like hockey, whatever, like every single sport is now like Tiger Woods, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you think like he's on his way out. He's the old guy now. You see everybody coming up and you're like, how could you be any better than that? Like that should be and now you see like it's no different than hockey with like Wayne Gretzky. He was like the one that made all the records for everything. And now you see kids coming their first game, their NHL game, and they're like, yeah, I'm totally beat all of his records. Like it's insanity. It's insanity. Like I can't even wrap my head around. Like you would figure at some point you couldn't get any better. But they do. Constantly changing.
It's just the level of training is just unbelievably
Right.
Because like, when I was in like high school and stuff, like, like training hard would be like, maybe going twice a day, train during your like gym class and then come afterwards, hit upper body lift or something like that. Like that used to be like training hard. And like dudes now, they're going to like offensive line, like specialists as their like on the weekends and stuff. And like that was unheard of when we were in high school. So like the training just keeps evolving and evolving. And obviously like with all the knowledge that we get now and like how the body responds and supplements and recovery tools and stuff like that, like you can really like push the envelope that way.
And all the different analytics that you can put into that where you're measuring everything. You can just measure the output of everything you're doing. One of the things that I think is going to start to hurt our kids a little bit is, at least from my sports medicine kind of side of things, is the kids who will just pick one sport and stick with that one sport. Now it's like the demand is there for you to focus on your one sport during the season, during the off season, you're training, then you're going to do this club, and then you're going to do that club.
Yeah.
Where you start to see more injuries in these people because they're only using their body in that one specific way, where instead of the kids playing, okay, it's football season, I'm playing football, then I'm playing basketball, then I'm playing baseball.
Yeah.
You're cutting differently, you're running differently, you're putting different wear on your joints differently, and that's leading to more injuries. There was one thing that I read that when Urban Meyer was at Ohio State, that he would something like 85% of his recruits played more than one sport. He wanted those different types of athletes, or the ones that were doing different sports like that instead of just putting their wear on that body just in that one way.
Mm-hmm.
Did you play any other sports in high school?
Well, growing up, I played other sports. I played like baseball and basketball.
Yeah.
I did shot put and discus in high school too.
Okay.
But other than that, I pretty much played football because, like, I'm definitely not playing basketball. I was not built to play basketball. You know, I'd been gassed. And then, I'm not a baseball guy either, so I stuck with football and track. So
Sure.
that's kind of my go-to. But growing up, though, I played different sports.
Right. So you're growing up doing that, and it was, like, and I think back to it too, how this is going to be completely different from what our kids are going to see. Is it was like, my parents didn't really know where I was during the day. I mean, they knew I was somewhere in the city. And again, I grew up in Kaukauna, so it's just south of Green Bay. It's not very big.
Well, Kaukauna.
So they knew I was somewhere in the city.
Yeah.
I was either, playing football on this field or playing baseball at this field or over at this person's house playing basketball or at the swimming pool. But, now I'm thinking back, I'm like, I would not let my daughters do that nowadays. Where
not a chance.
Yeah. I'd leave at like 8 and be like, all right, mom's like, dinner's at 6. Okay, I'll be back by 6.
Just come home before the street light comes on.
Right, and that was the other one. It was like when either had to be home before the street lights come on, or we had to make special arrangements to play night games.
Yeah.
We're playing kick the can or ghost in the graveyard or something.
Yeah.
But I mean, can you imagine letting your kids out and just be gone for the day?
Not a chance. Not anymore. No. There's so many weird people out there nowadays, man. It's like, and I'm sure they were around back then, but like we didn't really know about it.
Yeah.
We didn't even know any better. But now I just feel like it's like such a deal. I want to I need to know where the fuck you're at.
Right.
All the time.
One thing with this whole COVID stuff and everything, right? When the kid was still back in school, I took her a couple times to school, and the wife's like, "Yeah, just take the car." I said, "Well, don't we just walk?" No. Okay, so take the car. There's nowhere to park, and I'm looking around, and I'm like, "Why is every kid here in a car? Like, do we not?" And she's like, "Yeah, nobody lets kids walk to school anymore. Like, they'll get snatched." I'm like, I walked to school my entire life. Like, what do you like? Is this not normal? Like, is this not crazy? Like, we literally live a block away from her school. Like, you walk and then there's the yard. Like, it doesn't make any sense. And she's like, "Yeah, we'll always have to. You can't just." That's insanity to me. Like it, but no one does. No one does.
Yeah.
And that's just like you guys were saying, the street lights come on, get home, that kind of thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Man, on a weekend, I could not come home for the weekend. And mom would know, like, I'm fine, whatever, right? I'd show up and I'd go to school and everything was fine. Like, Sunday night, hey, how you doing? How was your weekend? What did you get,
And we didn't have cell phones. So it's not like they were like checking in. It was just like,
No, that like, now that I think about it, it's actually insane. Because she'd be like, "Where were you?" "Oh, I went to Buddy's cabin." Right? So I was like hours away at a lake or something, and she was fine with it. She didn't know where I was, but I wasn't calling her. So and now when that clicks in and you register, like, my kid can't go past the sidewalk. I need to know where she is when she's playing out front, right?
That's
like
so true.
Yeah. And I'm like, man, I ran this whole thing when I was younger than you. Like, this whole thing was my thing. And I was younger than you on like a tricycle. This was,
my bike across town.
The Hot Wheels, man. I rode that Hot Wheels tricycle thing until the plastic wore out. Like it, and now I'm thinking like, okay, mom and dad got to get dressed first. We got to get out there before you go riding your bike, right? Like, no one did that for me. They're like, go ride your bike. That's it. Okay.
Different times, man. It's insane.
And I'm trying to think, I'm like, well, when was I alone all day? I'd have been like 10, 11 years old. I'm like, that's my daughter next year. Hell no.
Yeah.
Not a chance. Oh my God. I know my parents be working and shit, just out there home by ourselves and everything.
Yeah.
Like they would teach us like not to answer the door and shit like
that. Right.
Yeah.
But like other than that, like there's no way I'd be like, 10 years old, be like, hey, you're good, stay home.
There's a microwave. You know how to make,
You know what to do. Just do your thing. Bada boom, bada bing. You know?
Well, no, like Chris, you and I talked about this before. My mom used to take me grocery shopping. My dad would always be working in the garage on hot rods, right? That's what he did his entire life. He was in the garage until like the street lights came on, and then he had to come in the house. Same deal, right? Like that was the thing.
Right.
So he'd be out there. He might come in for dinner, might not, whatever. Mom used to take me grocery shopping, and I learned a fair bit about cooking from that. Because she'd be working late. She'd be working till 9 or 10, and he'd be in the garage the same time. So he'd be home, but he wouldn't be in the house, right? So I had to learn how to cook and do all of that. And that was the funny thing is, like, Mom would come home, and there'd be leftovers in the fridge that I cooked. And now I'm looking at the wife, and I'm like, we're 2 years away from, like, my daughter being about that same age. And we're like, can I open that can for you? Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, shit, I would have survived in an apartment downtown at that age. Like, that's it's crazy.
No, that's hilarious. My wife and I were just talking about that shit. Like we're like, all right, our 7-year-old daughter should be able to get up and like dress herself and all that stuff. But we're up there like changing her pants and her shirt.
Right.
She can't do it herself, you know?
Yeah.
She would take an hour and a half to get dressed. So we're like, we just got to do it.
Yeah. My girls are the same way, and it's not that they don't know how to do it. It's just that, and it's more my 7-year-old than my 9-year-old. She just gets distracted.
Oh God.
Yeah.
They'll be up there for a half hour. And we're like, okay, why not? Then we go up there, and she's just sitting there in her underwear. Like,
what are you doing? What have you been doing for the past hour? Like, Jesus.
Oh, I forgot. What? You had one job. Put clothes on.
You have no clothes on. Like, how'd you forget?
No, that's my daughter with socks, right? And she'll come home from school, and because the wife has been busy doing other stuff, she takes her boots off. She's not wearing socks. I'm like, where's your socks? Why are you not wearing socks? She's like, yeah, I don't like socks. I'm like, so what? I don't like socks. You have to wear them. And I'm like, you mean your mother sent you to school without socks? She's like, we don't have to wear them if we don't like. I'm like, this changes now. Like, you're not a bohemian. You got to wear socks to school. Like, what do you like? When was this ever on the table to be an issue that you could negotiate? Like, what is this? And then I take it up with the wife, and the wife's like, don't even start with me. You don't know what the first thing in the morning is. I'm like, okay, well, fine. Then the kid just won't wear socks, whatever. Like, let's be them weird people. Like, that's Jesus. Like, who thought, hey, putting socks on a kid would ruin their day, ruin their whole day? This pair of socks. I'm like, if that's your problem, man, like, you're in huge trouble here. That's like, I'm ready to fist fight a millwright by the time you stroll out of bed, and this is something I won't even bring up at the dinner table, and you're like, days are right off, socks again, we're done here. This is
can't function. Dad made me wear socks.
that's
I can't focus. Damn socks, they distract me all day.
That's it. You know what? I'm not going to school. Socks. That's it. That's like, when was this ever a debate? When, like, we were getting tables are run on us already, and like, she's 6. I'm like, what is happening here? This is crazy. But yeah.
That's hilarious.
Oh man, it's something else. So this is with the little one. I'm already trying to be a bit stiffer with her, right?
Yeah.
She's 10 months old, and it's already not working. I'm like, don't shake your head at me. Like, I'm telling you, right? And she's like, right my face. Yeah. And then the 6-year-old chimes in the back. She's like, she's saying no, Dad. She's saying no right to your face. That's it. I'm like, all right. We go to the garage, build a hot rod. That's yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Hey, you know what? I think your dad probably had the right idea, Mel.
No, that's the thing, right? That's now that I
figure
on everything, I start to understand things a bit better. Yeah.
He had to figure it out. He was way ahead of the time.
Yeah. So, Lane, I have to tell you something. This is kind of funny. With her, when she was doing soccer in the summer, right? we were still able to do soccer even with COVID and stuff. It was pretty awesome. The kids all got together. And one of the dads, big Packers fan, right?
There we go.
And it's in Canada. Like usually you see Cowboys shit. It is what it is. Cowboys are Patriots. And I was like, oh, you know Lane Taylor? He's like, oh, yeah, you know, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, I'm on the same cooking team with him. And the guy looked me straight in the face. Like, yeah, whatever. Like, it's totally didn't believe me or anything. And now I wish I would have took his business card to send him this link or something, just to be like, you know.
Hey, we're going live at 8, brother. You could be.
It's a crazy thing, man. Like it's like you guys were saying, you never know who you're going to meet through barbecue, whatever. This is a prime example of that exact same thing, right? It's nuts. I
mean, like when we were talking about how like Brett Hundley, you know, got me and Chris together, like he was just like, yeah, he's a guy. He just, you know, he's in Green Bay and he knows how to cook and stuff. You should come out. And I was like, well, all right, cool. You know, this is when I started kind of getting into cooking. You know, I guess getting back into cooking, and I was like, all right, cool, whatever. And then, you know, I meet Chris, and then before you know it, I'm on Big Green Egg, and I'm talking to a Canadian with a mullet, you know.
No, man, like, so when I went down to Augusta, this was my eye opener. I'm sitting in Campbell's living room. Jack Arnold is baking a raspberry pie. I'm about to do a cannonball into a beautiful pool with this old dude with the crazy mustache. There's like top shelf bourbon everywhere. And I'm just looking around and I'm like, the hell is happening here? Like, this is like none of this even, you can't even fathom. They took me to a farmer's market where there was like a white fin shark, white tipped shark in a cooler.
Mm-hmm.
We could have bought that and brought it home. It didn't even register to me at the time, but now I'm like, why didn't we buy that shark? We had the chance. Why didn't we do it? Like, it's insane to me. Like, the places you go, the people you see, right? It's just.
If it makes you feel any better, we don't have that kind of farmer's market in Wisconsin either.
No, that's it. Yeah, man. I don't know what kind of
walleye, eh?
Yeah. The wall, buddy. Don't get me started on the walleye. That's yeah.
No, in Wisconsin, when you go to a farmer's market, it's literally shit that they grow on a farm.
Yeah.
You know, there's somebody who makes soap. You know, there's usually somebody who actually there was a guy who had yak meat. He was selling yak meat, which is supposed to be kind of sweeter than beef. No, there's a bison ranch too, and there's a few other little places, but most of it is all produce, and you'll get some good stuff. But there's no like sharks or gooey duck or whatever those giant phallic things are, and all the different stuff. I mean, that's pretty big city. I wish we had some of that up here. I mean, I'd love to try.
Dude, that'd be awesome. It really would.
Well, we have some crazy like international markets here, but nothing like that. So the place that Campbell took us was on the Food Network a bunch of times, I guess. A lot of like master chefs will go there to buy their stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It was huge. It was like 6 Costco's put together. It was massive. This it had everything you could think of, but just the fact they had a whole shark. It was like they had live catfish swimming in like a pool that had like constant aeration with like it looked like a river, and these catfish were alive. You could buy like straight up channel cats right there. It was not
a hand in and grab one, or
they stuck to like Buddha was there, right, and they just stuck to their stuff, and Jack got his stuff for his pie, and away and I just. Like, now thinking back on it, there's so many things I would have just bought right then and there. But
well, I'm sure you had some, you know, you're shell shocked going into
that's the perfect term for it. The whole thing, right? Pulling up to Campbell's house, and I was like, what the hell is going on? Like, here's a grown man with 4 TVs in his living room so he could watch football all at once. And I'm like, this is how people are supposed to do it. This is what's up right here. This is I'm like, you got nobody to tell you not to do this? This is awesome.
Part of that was Campbell was a 35-year-old single guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was awesome, though. Like, it was...
Yeah, absolutely. Because wifey, if he had a little wifey there, she'd be like,
yeah, that's...
that's
yeah.
cute.
Four TVs in the living room would not fit into Casey's designs.
Her farmhouse designs, I don't think so.
No.
even though she did try to talk me into buying a 90-inch TV the other day.
Just say yes. Just say yes. Don't
So I
fight
was
it.
like, where the fuck are we gonna put our 82-inch TV?
In the kitchen. You're good. That's it.
We'll put it out there with my grill and stuff. I'll sacrifice. I'll put the 82-inch out there.
That's one thing with me. If the wife ever says anything about electronics, I'm like, sure, done. Whatever. Let's just get it. Never any resistance to the... Yeah, that's...
Yep, and just get it before she changes her mind.
Oh, yeah. No, that's like my mother-in-law when she saw the TV that I put up in the kitchen, and I'm like, well, I do a lot of cooking in here, so I should have, like, you know... And she's like, this doesn't make any sense. Why do you have a TV when the other TV's right there? I'm like, because this one's closer. So it doesn't have to be as big or whatever. Like, yeah. And she's staring at me. She's like, that doesn't make any sense. I'm like, it's not supposed to, and it's done. So we're not talking about like this. Let's just turn it on and just avoid the whole thing now. This is, yeah. Yeah, it's, yeah. Oh.
Good stuff.
So what are you guys cooking for Christmas? You have pizzas, right? That's what you're doing?
Yep.
And you're doing
The
prime rib.
Yeah, oh yeah.
There you go.
Prime rib and whatever wife wants. She'll probably want like a ham or something like that. And we'll do prime rib and a ham. And
sweet potatoes.
My wife asked for a really weird one. She wants seafood because it's just us.
Yeah.
She's like, can you go above and beyond with seafood? And I was like, this is exactly. So I'm going to do the Schemm special with the scallops.
Uh-huh.
So we're going to do that. We're going to get that egg expander working her magic again. I've got some fat Cuban lobster tails, some U10 scallops. I got some king crab or snow crab. I got some monster black tiger prawns.
Wow.
And we're just going to do it up. Just garlic everywhere and go.
Garlic, butter.
Yep.
Get after it.
Yeah,
I'm loving the non-traditional stuff, man. Yeah, I'm trying to, help, change my wife a little bit. But
to be honest with you, if the restaurants were still open for Christmas Day, we would have went and done dim sum.
Yeah.
Because if we didn't have to, this is the crappy thing. I don't know what it's like for you guys, but we got both our families are split. So every time you have one holiday, we have 4 houses to go to.
Jesus.
With kids in tow, this sucks. So Christmas Day, we wake up, kid opens her presents, stares at him for 2 seconds, and then we got a hustle. Get this house we go to. Sometimes it's 4 stops in a day on Christmas Day. So with this COVID thing, we got nowhere to go. I'm like,
thank Jesus.
Oh, I've got the special rum and eggnog for Saturday morning already. I'm like, Papa's not driving. We're good here. This is done, right? So that's what I'm thinking now. I'm like, that's good. We'll wake up the eggnog and coffee, and we'll do the lobsters, and the kid can play with all the Legos and stuff. And it's like, good. Like, it's done. So what a blessing in disguise for this kind of stuff. It's, to be honest with you, I've never spent this much time with my kids ever. Like, this is crazy. It's, being in this quarantine, like, I got no complaints as far as that goes, right? I miss people, and I miss being outside, but...
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, but it's all, like, we do the elf in the shelf, right? Mm-hmm. So every morning, the elf will bring something new from the North Pole, something small, right? So we've been doing these little Lego sets. So every morning now I have a coffee and we build like a food truck or we build a tractor or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like I would never be able to do this. It'd be in the weld bay at like 5 o'clock in the morning, right? Yeah. So to have this time,
yeah.
And I'm like, all of your priorities and everything in life is like changing.
Mm-hmm.
Just seeing what it's like to be able to have that time and see these things. It's crazy.
Dude, it is different because, like, you know, being like an athlete and everything, like, you miss out on a lot, really. Honestly, you miss out on a lot of your kids' first things, and either you're on the road or you're practicing or you're in the hotel or you're playing. Like, you miss a lot of things, and even though like I've been hurt for the past 2 years, like, it has been a blessing though. Like, I spent so much time with my kids over the past 2 years. It's insane. And it's like this time that I would never be able to spend with them, and like they're so used to me being at the house now, everything. It's going to be like a shell shock when I actually do go back. But it has been awesome to be able to like actually be there and see them all grow and spend like quality time. Because I mean, I'm sure, like, I don't even know, but like years down the road, like, I'm sure like these past couple of years I've been with them, they're probably gonna like impact their life like a lot.
That's exactly it. So for the guys up here, most of them, this is an oil field kind of place, right? Our province is, we've got Fort McMurray is 3.5 hours north of here, right? So you can make X amount in the city, or you can go up to Fort McMurray and double it, maybe triple it, right? Mm-hmm. But now you're staying in a camp. Mm-hmm. So you're home for 5 days, 7 days, and then you're gone for 21. Something like that, right? And everybody does it. As soon as you can, they jump on it, camp life, away you go. And that's one of the side effects is most of these guys have young families, right? And they miss out on most of that, all those memories. And that's the crappy part is like you're mortgaging your life for an income. It's a tough one. It's a real tough one. And I get it. Like, I totally get it. Mm-hmm. I've like pretended not to see it up until this lockdown. And now sitting here doing this, like, it's changed the way I see a bunch of stuff. It's crazy. It's kids, man. They get into everything.
What? Is that true?
They get into everything.
They into your damn head
every day. It's just a tornado every day.
Yeah. Oh, buddy. Yeah.
And I'm about to have 4 of them too, so it's going to be really it'll be interesting.
Oof.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome, man. Congratulations.
Well, at least, the older ones are going to be a big help. I mean, your oldest daughter, she's already a huge help, but, she'll be a second mom to that little guy.
Oh, yeah. She'll be help.
And that's the way I feel bad for my son, because it's like he's got his mom, but then he's got, his 2 older sisters that, I mean, they're fantastic with him, but I'm like, yeah, that poor kid's got 3 moms.
Don't slip up, big guy.
Right. But you'll be happy one day when they come home from college or something and they bring some of their friends with them.
Yeah.
Like, what's up?
Yeah.
Oh, that's true, man. Are y'all going to have any more, or are you done?
We're done, man.
Done, for sure.
We're done. Hopefully we're done.
Yeah.
You better go see the doctor then, man.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
No, I turned 37 Saturday. I'm like, I'm going to be too old then.
Oh, absolutely, for sure.
I mean, it was so much easier when I was 28, and now Carter's that kid's a handful. He doesn't stop.
Yeah.
My girls, you could get them, when they were little, you could get them kind of engaged in something to keep them in a general area. This kid, you pick him up from one thing that he's getting into, he's already looking around for, okay, what else can I get into as you're carrying him?
Yep.
Yeah. I'm good.
That's what we said too. We're like, all right, 4, we're done. Like, wife's getting the tube steak out, we're done. Like, no more. Yeah. Like, this is awesome, but no more.
Yeah, that's awesome. I don't know. Mine, I have to creep up on her late at night here.
Put it on.
That's the trick, yeah. Because she's like, no, I'm too old. I'm too whatever. I'm like, I got I got videos of people in their 70s having babies. Don't worry, like we're fine here. This is crazy. It's not even an excuse anymore.
Why do you have people?
Well, it's been done. It's been done. You can't use that as an excuse. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just as long as you didn't actually have these videos on.
No, I don't actually have video. No.
That's
No.
Good, Mel.
What you know what I mean? It's
out there. It's out there somewhere.
It's crazy. It's crazy. But she's 35 or 6. I don't know. We got time.
Yeah, stay for 35.
Yeah, that's it. And she's like, well, the last one was really rough. I'm like, aren't they all? Let's just sneak one more. Lane, no joke. No joke. So we're in the delivery room. We're a couple hours away. The wife is held up on the bed already. They're coming and going nonstop, right? I order skip the dishes. There's a picture of me sitting in a recliner next to the bed, and I've got Vietnamese and Jamaican on my belly. And she's in labor right next to me, and I'm eating like the beef patty, right? I've got the curried goat. I've got it's.
I was like, which one's for your wife? No, they're both mine.
Yeah, she's not hungry. This is all for me. This is yeah, it was. And oh man, the nurses were like, they were in tears. They were laughing so hard. They're like,
"You put down over there."
Yeah,
enjoy a meal.
Yeah, it was a good time. It was a really good time. But that's I didn't know they'd do that. They'd bring it right to your door. Right? That's crazy. That's done deal. Curried goat in the delivery room. Why wouldn't you?
I mean, why not?
That's it.
Oh man, she would have killed me if I did
that. I'm sure Casey'd be fine with that, right?
No, man, she would have killed me, man. No, she would have killed me. I did eat good. Like the cafeteria there at Aurora is good, but it was always outside of the room. Like I didn't bring anything in. But yeah, if I brought anything in, she would have killed me.
I remember when we had Carter. It was the day after Thanksgiving, which, man, it's right around your birthday. Is your birthday the 23rd or 22nd? 22nd?
November 22nd.
Yeah, so Carter's born the day after you then.
Okay.
But she started pushing, and she had the baby like 30 seconds before tip off of the Badger game. So it was perfect.
There we go. Yeah.
And like her OB, I obviously worked at the hospital with her OB, and she's like looking at me. She's like, "Fine, I'll hold the kid." Well, no, I'm like, I want to watch basketball with him. I want to teach him correctly.
This is how we started right here.
Right.
Brainwash him from the very second he came out.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Oh.
All right. Well, I think it's time to wrap it up here. We're closing in on 2 hours.
Yeah.
There you go, man. Yeah, man. This
was a blast. We'll have to have you on again.
Yeah, man. For sure.
I'm down, man.
Maybe we'll do it during some of the warm light in Wisconsin. So we can be doing some actual grilling outside during this.
Yeah,
that'd be sick. That'd be good.
Yeah, once the snow breaks, we're gonna do some cooks while we do this for sure. It's yeah.
Since it's already been dark here for 5-6 hours.
Yeah,
seriously.
Yeah. It's it's like midnight here. It's crazy.
Something like that.
Yeah, Well, this was awesome, Lane. Thank you very much for coming on, man. I really appreciate it.
No problem, bud, man. Thanks for having me on. It's been fun. I've been watching y'all do your live, so it's been fun to jump on with y'all.
Yeah, man.
Great to have you here. Once this craziness is over, we can grill in person too, and that'll be nice to get back together.
Absolutely, it'd be good.
All right. Well, hey, Mel, my friend, enjoy your last 2 days of quarantine. Hopefully you get out and get a little bit of freedom before everything's completely locked down.
Yep.
You guys be safe. Have a happy holiday.
You two guys, thank you very much.
Enjoy this every time.
All right. Peace out, guys.
All right. We'll see you.